this video, we're going to talk about one of the most widespread and honestly diverse large animals on the entire planet, the deer. I mean, these guys range from tiny little forest dwellers all the way to the giants of the tundra. They've adopted to pretty much every corner of the globe. So what is it that makes a deer, well, a deer? Okay, so at their core, deer are hoofed mammals. They belong to a family called Cervidae. But let's be real, their most iconic feature, the thing that really sets them apart from animals that look kind of similar, like antelopes, is their antlers. And here's the cool part. Unlike horns, which are permanent, antlers are these amazing bony structures that they shed and regrow every single year. How crazy is that? Alright, so, a global animal. Where in the world do these guys live? That adaptability we mentioned, it's just incredible, and it's what's allowed them to become true globetrotters. So let's take a look at just how widespread they really are. Seriously, you can find native deer populations almost everywhere you look. We're talking from the frozen Arctic tundra all the way to steamy tropical rainforests. They're on every continent except for Antarctica and Australia. Now here's a cool bit of trivia. Africa is a bit of an exception. It has only one native deer species, the Barbary stag, and you'll only find it way up in the Atlas Mountains. And when we talk about diversity, the range of sizes in the deer family is just staggering. It's a real tale of two sizes. On one end of the scale, you've got the northern poodoo from South America. This little guy is barely taller than a house cat. And then, on the complete other end of the spectrum, you have the colossal moose, an absolute giant that can weigh up to 800 kilograms. It's just wild to think they're in the same family, right? Okay, next up, the life of a deer. We're going to look at their diet, family, and daily routines. With all this diversity in size and location, you might be wondering, how do these animals actually live? What's a day in the life of a deer like? Well, let's dive in. So, what's on a deer's menu? Well, deer are what scientists call browsers. You can think of them as kind of picky eaters. Instead of just mowing down huge amounts of tough grass like a cow, they're super selective. They go around picking out the best, most nutritious stuff. Things like new leaves, fresh grasses, shoots, and fruits. This high-quality diet is absolutely crucial for their energy, and for the males, it's what gives them the building blocks to grow those massive antlers every year. And how do they digest all that stuff? Well, this is pretty cool. They have a four-chambered stomach. It's basically a super efficient built-in food processor. This setup lets them squeeze every last drop of nutrition out of their food. It's part of why they're so successful as a species. So a deer's life usually kicks off in the spring. A mother, which is called a doe, will typically give birth to one or maybe two fawns. And you know those adorable white spots they're born with? Well, they're not just for looks. It's actually perfect camouflage that helps them blend right into the dappled sunlight on the forest floor, keeping them safe and hidden from predators. Alright, let's talk about social lives and survival. Herds, hierarchies, and dangers. I mean, life in the wild isn't just about eating and hiding, right? So let's explore how deer navigate their pretty complex social world and all the dangers they have to face. For the most part, deer are really social creatures. They live in groups called herds. And, it makes a lot of sense. There's safety in numbers, and it makes it way easier to find food and, of course, find a mate. But that brings up a really interesting question. In a big herd, who's in charge? Well, the answer lies in this super dramatic annual ritual, a battle for dominance. First, the males grow a brand new set of antlers each year. Then, during the mating season, which is called the rut, they fight. They literally lock antlers and have these intense shoving matches. The winner, usually the guy with the biggest, strongest antlers, becomes the dominant male and gets to mate. It's a real test of strength and health. Of course, figuring out who's boss isn't their only problem. Deer have a lot of enemies. They're a really important food source for predators like wolves and cougars. Even dogs can be a threat. And of course, they also have to watch out for humans. Okay, we've covered a ton, but the world of deer is still full of surprises. So to wrap things up, let's get into 5 fascinating facts. These are some final, surprising bits of trivia that might just change the way you think about deer. Fact number 1. Let's talk about the word deer itself. It has a pretty cool history. The word we use today comes from the Old English word deor, which, get this, originally just meant any kind of wild animal. It took until about the 1500s for the word to mean only the specific animal we know today. Alright, fact number 2 is a good one. You know how we always think only the boys grow antlers? Well, that's not entirely true. Female reindeer are the only female deer species where the females also grow antlers, so it's not just for the boys in their case. Fact number 3 is a bit strange, but super interesting. Deer have scent glands right in front of their eyes. They use them to mark their territory by rubbing them on branches. It's basically their way of leaving a keep outside for other deer. Moving on to fact number 4. Deer are not just land animals. You should never underestimate their athletic skills. They are excellent swimmers and powerful jumpers. I mean, they can easily cross rivers and leap over really high obstacles when they need to. And that brings us to our final point, which is actually a question for you. We've talked about how important antlers are for fighting and protection. So, why do you think males go through all the effort of shedding and regrowing them every single year? It takes a ton of energy. What's the point? It's a really fascinating puzzle when you think about it. Alright, that is it this video, everyone. Thank you for watching. Please make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel, and I'll see you in the next video.